Hey guys, welcome back to Legitimate Cybersecurity. Now, many of you might know that I'm also a professor, a graduate professor in cybersecurity at night here in the US. And one of the questions I get often is, what type of cert should I get? What's really worth it? What pays well? And if you know anything else about my background, I had no idea certs existed when I started in this field. So today we're going to take some time and tell you about, from our opinion, and well, from the data, we did a bunch of research on this as well, the top 10 certifications for you to consider if you're trying to get into cybersecurity. There's a lot out there, but not all of them are worthwhile. So we're going to jump in and go through a few of them and kind of help you figure out what's going on. So let's talk strategy. In cybersecurity, certifications don't just get you past the HR firewall. They can open doors to roles that you didn't even really know existed. They help build your credibility in an industry where proving your skills matters just as much as having them. I can't tell you the amount of times I have individuals who proclaim to have certain skills, but by the time you hire them, they actually didn't. Now, this is a double-edged sword with certifications. Just because someone has a certification doesn't necessarily mean that they're really good at the job, but it is just another kind of capability, a tool for us to try to understand if this individual is actually qualified or not. According to the latest industry reports, certified professionals also earn more than those who aren't, about 10 to 25% more on average. So if you can take a class for a week, a boot camp, and get a certification, you can really see an uptick in your actual salary as well. So let's talk about the big elephant in the room, the one you're going to hear about the most throughout life. It is the CISSP. It's not just a certification, it's a leadership credential in this case. The CISSP is kind of viewed as the MBA for cybersecurity. It's made for people who design, manage, and lead programs, not just execute them. If you ever want to become a CISO, director, or senior architect, this is your jam. Now, I should note that it's not necessary to become those things, but it is something that can make the job a lot easier and show that you know what you're talking about. It covers everything from risk management and security architecture to legal frameworks. But it's, don't underestimate it simply because it has more of the strategic level stuff in it. It's pretty dense. It's also got some technical understanding in there as well. That's why the CISSP earns usually about $170K per year for individuals who have it. Now, that is, keep in mind, more of an average. So you might earn more, you might earn less. But it does show that you're more than just a technician, that you have the capability not just to do the technical level stuff, but communicate it effectively and contextually understand it for cybersecurity overall, for those executive individuals, the boards, and so forth. Next up is my favorite. Now, the CEH is the certification that introduced me to cybersecurity. Well, that's a little backwards. I was in cybersecurity before I got the CEH, but the Certified Ethical Hacker was my first certification. I kind of definitely did put the cart before the horse in a lot of ways getting that cert. But it's a certification that kind of, we'll say, helps individuals understand that you know how to hack, but legally, right? As you continue to grow and so forth, this is considered the baseline hacking certification, the CEH, where there's other ones that can kind of prove your bona fides a bit better. But it really is a great entry point for individuals who already understand networking, already understand systems and so forth, but also understand how to exploit them appropriately and legally. You cover everything from reconnaissance to exploitation and post-exploitation when you're taking advantage of systems. And with this, you can really use it in a lot of ways, especially to conduct pen testing for companies. And when you're doing pen testing, it's kind of fun, specifically because it's the legal way of hacking. It also earns you a bit of a pretty penny. You're going to start about $120 a year if you get into the right, we'll say, zip code for this type of stuff. And if you're willing to travel, you can earn even more. Now, the CISM. The CISM is also one of the biggest cybersecurity certifications at the management and strategic level. It's for the strategist, if you will. It's very similar to CISSP, but it's a little bit different in that it has a little bit more of a focus. The CISSP is about breadth, where the CISM is about depth in governmental governance and risk, as it were. It's ideal for anyone looking to step into a VP or director role, but you're going to want to take a look at that CISSP if you want to go a little bit higher. Again, this isn't knocking it, though, because it's one of ISACA's leading certifications. That said, I will remind you that if you're looking at certifications, you also have to consider the organization with which you're being certified. ISACA has a lot of fees along with it, but they're worth it. You get access to the memberships. Membership gives you access to things such as meetings, such as reduction in fees for any of their content that you want to purchase. And they also have all these chapters around the world that you then get to have access to with a bunch of like-minded people, and you get to nerd out with them a lot. So it's not worth laughing at. You should make sure you consider it. It's one of my favorite certifications, at least, and that's like still one of my favorite certifying bodies as well. All right. Think of Sec Plus as not necessarily your introduction to cybersecurity or the industry overall, but it's kind of your next step after your Network Plus. Salaries, we look at this as the boost of the salary once you've got your feet wet and you're in the door, right? Net Plus can help necessarily. In fact, I recommend to a lot of my students, you should get your Net Plus and then your Sec Plus if you're looking to really start your career in cybersecurity. And you get a really kind of great starting salary here with getting up to like 80K in some cases. Now, it isn't the easiest certification to get. You really have to understand your networking. You have to understand you have to understand security. Security can't just be a word you say. And it is a bit more technical than other certifications as well. So you're going to have to understand how packets work, how firewalls work, and how to configure them and make sure that everything works appropriately. Specifically because with the Sec Plus certification, organizations are going to start wondering, hey, how do I use this person to secure my organization? And they're going to expect you to be able to really be able to get a running start when you're, say, working at a SOC or something along those lines. A great cert, but not for the weak of heart. All right, talking about a certification that's not for the weak of heart, the OSCP. Now, if you want to really prove yourself as a hacker or as an individual who can exploit systems, or you want to be the best of the best in the field of penetration testing, this is a certification for you. All of the best penetration testers that I've ever met, save for a few that don't even believe in certifications at all, they're living in the wild, wild west, have this certification. And it's pretty powerful as well, because once you have it, people don't tend to argue with you over whether you have the capabilities to perform penetration testing. And in fact, you're usually considered the trendsetter for a lot of things. And that's why the salary is so high as well. We're talking about an average of 130K. And I've seen people with OSCP make even more. So if hacking is your jam, then this is the certification for you. But beware, the exam for the certification is not easy. It's all hands-on. It's no joke, and it's something that you really want to take seriously. Otherwise, you're not going to stand a chance at getting the certification. All right. Now we're getting into the SANS certifications with the GIAC Security Essentials, specifically the GSEC, as a lot of people call it. Now, it's great because it's for people who don't just want to know the basics, but they want to be able to really get their hands around it. Its reputation is pretty impressive, but so are most of the SANS certifications within the field. SANS has a great, I'd say, reputation specifically because they've always been implementing hands-on experiences throughout the whole learning process. And on top of it, you're coming out of there with a lot of practical knowledge. The only downside is SANS certifications are pretty expensive, and GSEC, the GSEC as it is included in that. At least when I got mine back in 2016, my SANS certification was about $6,000 all in. It's not easy, but once you have these certifications, as long as you maintain them, they will open a lot of doors for you. And GSEC's one of those that will. It covers a wide range of topics, and so it's very holistic and comprehensive. And there's an emphasis on those practical skill sets. It's perfect for making the transition into cyber if you're coming from, say, a related field like IT. It's one that really you can't go wrong with, especially if you're looking to get your hands on things. And again, that 120K median salary is pretty great. All right, now we're talking about the Certified Cloud Security Professional. The CCSP shows that you really know how to work with things in the cloud. And that's pretty great because everything's in the cloud already. We used to say everything's moving to the cloud, but basically at this point, it's all in the cloud. And if you have the CCSP, you have shown that you know how to actually function with things in the cloud. You can secure things in the cloud. You can protect things in the cloud, whether it's AWS, Azure, Google, or even Oracle for the 5 people who use that. I joke, but I'm sure there's a lot more people that use it. It just doesn't come up very often. This certification will help make sure that you can secure those applications. And starting between 115 and 165, they're not joking around. This is a very lucrative certification. In fact, when you're looking at certifications overall, even outside of cybersecurity, and you're looking at the IT ones as well, oftentimes you'll see some of these cloud-specific certifications that are specific to Amazon or Google that are oftentimes some of the highest earning ones, specifically because you know how to work within a very specific cloud. This kind of goes along with all of that. This is then the other end of that, other flip side of that coin, as it were, where you have the protection of the things that are built in the cloud. So it makes sense that if you're building everything in the cloud, then protecting things in the cloud is great too. All right, one that doesn't come up too often, but is still very valuable. This is the Cisco Certified CyberOps Associate. It's built for folks who really want to be in the trenches. Think you're the SOC individuals. Now, and for those individuals who want to get into cybersecurity, it's important to know that a lot of times the starting spot, especially in the private sector, is the Security Operations Center, or the SOC in this case. Working in a SOC is going to provide you some really important, practical, tangible, hands-on experience. And having this Cisco Certified CyberOps Associate certification is one way to show that you have that capability. I recommend something like this, or if you really want to have more of a comprehensive understanding, get your Net Plus and get your Sec Plus. And then if you go start applying to SOC positions, you stand a higher chance than most people. It really shows that you know what you're doing and that you have the capability to operate at least somewhat functionally on day one as you get up to speed with everything else. This also does that as well. All right, next up is the CRISC, another certification from ISACA. This is, again, another strategic level certification. In fact, the primary ones at ISACA are the strategic level certifications, ones that kind of give you a better understanding of what to do in your middle career or later in your career. That's why a lot of the ISACA members that you may work with in the future will be a bit more advanced in their career. Most of the certifications are geared towards people there. However, if you get your CISM or your CISA early in your career, you're going to see much more explosive growth at the front end. So just because you may not be at that point in your career yet, don't think you shouldn't try to get those ISACA certifications. You still should think about them. And the CRISC is a great example of those, especially with so much of today's world taking risk into consideration, which they should. You should know the controls, how to design something safely from scratch, what should be locked down. The CRISC is really going to help you with that. And it helps you with the evaluation of those systems as well. It's a really great way to prove that you are ready for strategic level evaluations and management of networks and systems. All right, now we have the Systems Security Certified Practitioner, the SSCP. It's like the CISSP's tactical younger sibling. One of the things about the CISSP, for example, is that you can't just be in cybersecurity and get it. There's a lot of requirements for your career. Now, there's less so for the SSCP. And you'll have the capabilities to show that you have more of a tactical capability to approach systems. It's respected, it's vendor neutral, and it offers a solid bridge towards CISSP or CCSP. You only need 3 years of experience for it too, where with those others, you're going to need a little bit more in order to qualify. Some of these certifications, you can't just go take the test and pass. A lot of them, you actually have to have some background in the field as well in order to prove that you're capable. This one is on the lower end of that, meaning that if you have 3 years of experience and you can pass this, you're in. It's pretty great. Okay, here's the spot where most people stall. They don't necessarily have a plan. They jump into a certification because, say, a friend recommended it, or they read a post on Reddit. But real professionals align certs with their goals. Want to be a CISO? Go governance heavy. Want to hack? Well, again, we have the CEH, we have the OSCP for that. Focus on the cert that aligns with what you want to be in the field of cybersecurity, right? Don't just take it because it makes a ton of money or something along those lines. I'll give you a great example. When I started working at the Department of Defense, I had no idea what I was doing. So I just kind of ran headlong into my first master's degree and got a degree in government. Didn't really help me with computers at all. I ended up having to get that second master's later down the line in cybersecurity to prove that I actually knew how to do cybersecurity as well. So before you decide on what type of certification that you get, make sure you take the time to think about what you want to do in the field of cybersecurity. Understand what you want. By planning and understanding things a bit better, you'll save yourself a lot of time later. Trust me, I would have saved myself 2 years of studying. So say you've identified which certification you want and you want to prepare for the certifications. Well, the difference between passing and failing often comes down to structure. Set a study schedule. Don't just cram. Use verified study guides. It's going to be very tempting to try and grab some dumps off the internet, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you should. A lot of those are illegal. And also, if you have WhatsApp, there's going to be a ton of people who are going to offer to try and take the certification test for you. You will get caught. And what's the upside? Say you do successfully cheat and so forth. You don't know any of the knowledge. You haven't proven that you understand it. And the worst case is you get caught and then it's not uncommon for organizations to tell each other who cheated on these exams, and you're going to be iced out from all the different organizations if you keep that up. Let's talk about the numbers. People often fixate on the upfront cost of certifications, and they should be taken into consideration, right? $699 for CISSP, $950 for CEH. Remember, I told you it was like $6,000 for my my SANS certifications, my GCIH. GIAC Certified Incident Handler. It becomes an alphabet soup after a while. Give me a little grace on that one. But look at the salary jumps, right? Yes, it costs some money up front, but are you willing to spend $1,000 to increase your income by $25,000 a year? Pretty great, right? These are examples of a little pain up front will save you from a lot of pain on the back end. The last thing you want to do is realize you could have taken a certification. And oftentimes, keep in mind, your company may actually pay for you to get this certification. They can pay for the books, the exams, they can pay for the study guides. Take a look and see what things are offered by your company. It can be a lot better than you think. Now, let's talk about some of the certification challenges. Let's be honest. It's not always easy to prep, especially some of these can be really, really hard. Like the OSCP, it takes a lot to pass that exam. Set a schedule. That's the best thing I can recommend. Or if you can afford it, take the boot camps as well. The boot camps are pretty fantastic. They force you to take the time and then spend that time to prepare yourself for the examination. But I've seen some people that do end up successfully getting a certification by doing self-study, and that's also fine. It just may take a little bit longer. But if you're doing self-study, set a schedule, hold yourself accountable. Again, it may be boring at times and it may seem tedious, but it's all going to be worth it once you have that certification and more doors open for you. Want to pass your exam on the first try? Well, start by getting the official study guides and the official question banks from organizations. For example, if you're looking at any of the ISACA certifications, their question banks are amazing. They don't just tell you, they don't just quiz you and then tell you if you're right or wrong. They help you understand contextually what's going on through their study materials. These organizations, if you think about it, they really would like the people who can pass to pass, because that means not just that there's more security professionals in the field, but they have more people paying their monthly or yearly dues. Oh, and they want to stay in business too. So it's not like any organization is out to get you or keep you from certifying. They'd all love for you to certify, but they don't want just anyone to certify if they don't know what they're doing or aren't part of the field, because everyone has an image to uphold, even these certifying organizations. So make sure that you study and keep up with it, and that you put in the effort. If you put in an honest effort and really, truly study hard, you'll do great. Earning the cert is one step. Step two, you have to use it. Yeah, go ahead, brag about it. Put it in your LinkedIn. Make sure that it has a big spot in your resume that you tell everyone you know about it, because you've put a lot of effort in getting the certification. Don't just shove it at the bottom of your resume necessarily, or not include it at all. I've seen too many people when I'm trying to hire individuals who don't even bring up all the certifications that they have. And that can keep you from getting a job. In fact, with the amount of bots that are out there today, if you do not include all of your certifications in your resume, you may not get past the initial bots when you put in an application somewhere. So make sure that you actually advertise that you have the certification, because these certifications can really take you to the next level. Remember, cybersecurity doesn't stand still, and neither do you. Most certs like the CISSP and SEC Plus, they require renewal every few years. That means you have to keep up with those continuing professional education credits, the CPEs. You have to do things like listen to our podcast. You have to do things like attend conventions or write white papers or show that you're staying active within the field of cybersecurity. You then have to submit all this to then earn your CPE credits. It can be daunting at times, but it's worth it to stay abreast. The last thing you want to do is get rusty at this and then find yourself in a few years from now not able to participate in any discussions at work or prove that you have the capability to do it. These organizations that provide the certifications are helping you stay accountable and helping make sure that you are still applicable when you're in the field working on cybersecurity. So stay up to date on them. Don't just necessarily let them expire, and especially after you put so much effort into them. All right, let's bring it home. Certifications, while awesome, aren't magic, but they are leverage. Make sure that you choose them wisely. Understand what you want to do in the field of cybersecurity, and then figure out what certifications are best for you. Once you take the time to honestly and truly study and put in the hard work and get these certifications, they will open so many doors for you. but it's on you to make sure you know which ones you should get and which ones are appropriate for you. Once you've done that, you'll be able to do a lot more. All right. Thanks for listening, and I hope this has been helpful for you. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and comment on our YouTube channel, because we're always here, both Dustin and I, to discuss cybersecurity certifications or anything in cybersecurity, really. The more people that we can help out, the better. I hope you have a great day, and see you around.